Hello and welcome to the Philippines. The winds of change have arrived, according to Pagasa. And I noticed this the other day. I was looking up at the clouds, and the clouds were moving in pretty much the opposite direction than what they've been moving for several months. Uh, we were getting the northeast monsoons, what's called monsoons, really not a monsoon because we were in a drought. But the winds for many months of the year come from the northeast and the east, like they are here. And then about the middle of June, it varies a week or two either way. We start getting the southwest monsoons, and that's what's happening. This warmer, more moist weather is coming up through here and hitting the Philippines, and this will become more pronounced as time goes by here, I'm sure. We've got kind of a unique weather system out here right now. But anyway, let me zoom in here to the Philippines a little bit closer and you can see what's going on. And this is a real interesting site, windy.com. And over on the right hand side, you have just a ton of different things that you can bring up. You can bring up rain, clouds, dew points, temperatures, thunderstorms. Just amazing how much information, waves, even swells, currents. And the one thing I wish they had here, which I don't think they have, is tides. It would be interesting to see tides. I did find an app for my Android phone about tides, and most of the apps for tides are related to Europe or the USA. And I finally found one that seems to be pretty accurate for the Philippines. Anyway, what's happening here is this more moist air is coming up this way, and more we're going to see it just coming across the Philippines this way, and then heading further north. And that brings us our rainy season, what we call rainy season. And when I first started reading about that, before I moved to the Philippines, I thought, oh man, southwest monsoons, that must mean rain every day for much of the day. That sounds really miserable. And it was one of my concerns. When I arrived here, we in 2015, we were in the middle of a drought, just like we are here in 2019. And I think the first week I was here, it rained twice. It rained about 20 minutes at a time, then it stops. And I found over the uh, coming years that I was here that monsoons and rains here generally uh, follow that pattern. It doesn't rain all day, and it usually rains for about 20, 30, 40 minutes, and then it's done. It might do that twice a day or only once a day, and it might only do it 3 or 4 times a week. But it's rainier than our drier season, where we also get that type of pattern. Now, you will also find, depending upon what part of the Philippines, I think there are 4 or 5 different weather climate patterns in the Philippines. Pretty much the temperature remains pretty consistent from the north to the south of the Philippines, unless you go up in elevation. And you'll find that our average temperatures in our cooler season range the highs generally in the mid 80s. When we get into our hotter season, May is our hottest month, and you're generally in the mid 90s. That's 90 degrees Fahrenheit for all of you in the USA. Which I think 30 degrees centigrade is about 86 degrees Fahrenheit, I think. So about 32 degrees, I think would be, you'd get about 90. And many people ask me, how hot, how miserable, how hot and humid is it in the Philippines? And like many people have told me, and I've experienced the southeast U.S. in particular, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, all across there. And even I remember years growing up in Minnesota, where we had some hot years well, many days over 100 degrees up in Minnesota in the mid 90s, and very high humidity, 80% humidity, 90% humidity. So I remember those very hot, humid days there. And if you've experienced Florida's, Georgia's humidity there, many people will tell you that it is uh, more comfortable here. It's not as hot and it's not as humid here as it is in many southeastern U.S. states in particular. But it can get hot and humid in the summertime, many parts of the U.S. and across Europe, I'm sure, as well. I don't have that much information, knowledge about Africa and other parts of Asia. Pagus is the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration in the Philippines. And they've got a website. They also have an app you can download on your phones, and they will give you alerts about weather issues, typhoons. We call hurricanes typhoons over here. And here's a map. This outline map here is their area of responsibility. They are responsible for tracking the weather, especially the typhoons, uh, in that area of their responsibility. Other countries pick up where they leave off. And their website has gotten better over the last 4 years. I can tell you that. There's a lot of information you can get. You can get current weather, you can get weather maps, you can get satellite maps. Um, Up here at the top, you have information about general weather, daily forecasts, not only in the Philippines, but other Asian weather, aviation weather, marine weather. Might be interested in that if you're planning on taking a ferry trip someplace. Cyclones, and we're just going into our cyclone, our typhoon season. And I think average they get 12 to 14 cyclones coming into the Philippines area of responsibility each year. And flood information, climate information, agriculture, astronomy, and regional forecasts. So you can go to Visayas, Mindanao, Capital Region, Northern Luzon, and you can zoom in and out of those areas as well. I've tried quite a number of weather apps on my phone, and in general, they are accurate. In more specific locations, they're not so accurate. And even in the U.S., I remember years ago, living in Arizona, I would call my father up in Minnesota, my parents, and say, well, I see you're getting some rain up there. And that's what I saw on the television. The whole area is covered in rain. They said, no, it's not raining here. So you know how that goes. They can put all the maps out and all the fancy information on the television screens. But the fact of the matter is, my weather apps may tell me that it's a 100% chance of rain in Cebu City, and it may be raining in Cebu City, but and it might be raining all around me, but not right where I'm at. So it's difficult to plan trips using these apps. So it's good to see this rain, as we have been in several months of drought. There are areas, even in Cebu City, especially as you go up in elevation a bit, where they may have water 1 or 2 hours a day, or it may just trickle out one day. They might not have enough water to even fill their jugs. I know people told me they would get up at 3 a.m. because they had an hour or two where they would have water, and they would fill their jugs of water at that point in time, hopefully. One taxi driver told me one particular day that was supposed to be their water day, where they had a short window of time, and he said we got up to fill our jugs and there was no water. So the drought is affecting large parts of the Philippines, and I have done a previous video about that water calamity in the Philippines, I believe. So Pagasa has quite a bit of information. They even have some historical data on cyclones, paths of cyclones take, and I've done a previous video a long time ago called Weather, as in the weather outside, and it's called Weather, You Like It or Not, and it's about the Philippines weather. And the thunder is setting off the alarms of cars and motorbikes down there. This is a video from about a year ago, a little over a year ago, but it does get the point across. One of the better videos I have of rain. And life slows down a little bit, but usually like those motorbike drivers, they put a raincoat on and go. Standing water. Thank you for watching. Please like the video. Please share the video. Please subscribe. Safe travels to you all wherever you're at. And I'll see you next time.